Alright, let's go back to Animal Farm. It's Mrs. Orth again, 9th grade, English at Tremper, trying to help you guys with your summer reading. Here's chapter 1. I'm going to read along with you, or hopefully you'll read along with me, I guess. Chapter 1, and then let's look at some of the things that I know you guys are going to need to do. So, first I'm going to hit this so that I can get my tools at the bottom. Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones of the Manor Farm had locked the hen houses for the night, but was too drunk to remember to shut the potholes. With the ring of light from his lantern dancing from side to side, oh, that's fun. Okay, there's my pen. Hopefully it's skinny enough. I just want to show you guys that this is personification. People dance, light doesn't dance. Okay, so watch out for things like that. We'll talk about that this year. It's hard to find personification somehow, it just is. Alright, dancing from side to side, he lurched across the yard, kicked off his boots at the back door, drew himself at last a glass of beer from the barrel in the scullery, and made his way up to bed, where Mrs. Jones was already snoring. Okay, so if I'm going to start annotating in the margins, I might want to write some stuff about these characters. I think I have a idea that Mr. Jones is drunk. And then from something like this, like Mrs. Jones is already snoring, and it's not a pretty picture of a lady, right? I don't think this is a favorable, I want this to be smaller. I don't think this is a favorable description, characterization of Mr. Jones and Mrs. Jones. So I might write that, not a favorable characterization. So it's kind of my opinion while I am reading, and you'll notice some of the words, like the word snoring, right? We know he's a drunk already from the very beginning. He's too drunk to even remember to take care of his pets anymore. So he neglects the farm. Now, Orwell doesn't start by saying Mr. Jones was neglecting his farm and the animals couldn't possibly have been happy. He says Mr. Jones is too drunk to remember to even shut the holes where the hen houses are. This will probably set us up for a later plot element. He's lurching across the yard. Just look at this picture of this almost ridiculous, very slapstick almost comedy of Mr. Jones on his way to bed, on his way home to bed. He's late. His wife is already in bed. She's already snoring. Now remember, he's a farmer. He shouldn't be coming home so late. He has to get up in the morning and take care of his animals. Alright. As soon as the light in the bedroom went out, there was a stirring and a fluttering all through the farm building. Word had gone round during the day that old Major, the prize middle white boar, had had a strange dream on the previous night and wished to communicate it to the other animals. It had been agreed that they should all meet in the big barn as soon as Mr. Jones was safely out of the way. Old Major, so he was called, though the name under which he had been exhibited was Willingdon Booty, was so highly regarded on the farm that everyone was quite ready to lose an hour's sleep in order to hear what he had to say. Alright, so we're probably going to get into some of our highlighting right away. So symbolism is something that stands for something else. Now, eventually, each character is going to stand for something. Remember, that's what an allegory is. So let's skip characters when we're looking at symbolism, and let's look for items. Later on, there will be a flag, and there will be a song, and things like that. And I think maybe we could even start with, let's pick up our highlighter, with the word dream. Now I have to stand back and look for it. I'm standing in my painting board in my room. Old Major had had a strange dream. Oops, that's not the highlighter. That he had had a dream. Now, I think most people consider dreams to be symbols. Now, each time you make a highlight, you should probably make a note in the margins. So if I get to this and I say a dream, so I would write something just when I'm thinking. People believe dreams are symbolic. Now, I think most people would agree with me that there's probably varying importance to what our dreams mean, but if it's already stated in the second paragraph, I'm going to have to bet that this dream is going to be very essential to both the plot and the characterization of Old Major. So that is going to be a symbol. Now, do I know what the symbol is just yet? No, but we will eventually. I mean, you could almost go back to irony in the first paragraph and talk about him coming. About Mr. Jones coming back drunk, right? As a bit of irony. Because that irony is what we don't expect. And so we call that situational irony. Oops. Situational. Now, why is it situational irony? It's the opposite of what we expect. So we expect farmers to go to bed early. That's what I expect. Okay, so that's what irony is, the opposite of what you expect. Verbal irony, the opposite of what you say, the opposite of what you mean to say. And dramatic irony is this person doesn't know what's going on, so they're like, it's like a joke behind their back. All right, let's keep reading. Okay. So the animals really respect him. Now you can go back and choose Old Major. We already decided that in my family that Old Major is compelling. He's an important character, obviously, and you'll see his propaganda, calling a meeting, communicating, all of these things that make someone kind of exciting is Old Major. So you can choose Old Major, but spoiler alert, he'll be gone very quickly. So I would not choose Old Major. And please don't go with orange and highlight each character. But I want to show you that Old Major would have been something you could choose. You could have chosen Mr. Jones or Mrs. Jones, but I would read a little while before I get into highlighting for character. However, let's go back to propaganda. So if we look at this part of the story, Old Major had a dream and wished to communicate it to the other animals. This kind of communication isn't just, I had a funny story, let me tell you. Okay? They all met together in the big barn without Mr. Jones, right? They exclude somebody. And he was highly regarded. So he has a lot of cred with his fellow animals. So all of this propaganda, all of this is leading up to the propaganda of Old Major talking to the animals. So I would expect to just, tell my friends about a dream in passing. But Old Major, I'm going to just abbreviate, but Old Major chooses to gather the animals and influence them with his cred. Let's just say it in partial teenager terms. So what I'm saying here is that I know more. I mean, maybe you didn't see this as propaganda at the beginning, but I'm just trying to show you what a page of highlighting might look like in annotation. You stop after every paragraph, you think about it, go back, take a peek back at your key, and then I might say to myself, look, he's trying to communicate this dream to the other animals. He's in a position of authority. I mean, imagine if the principal gathered all of you guys in the auditorium. I'm pretty sure he's going to have something really important to say to you, and what he says carries weight. His ethos, which is his credibility as the person who's in charge, just like Old Major being highly regarded, lends weight to his interpretation of the dream, of the symbol. So if something happens, sometimes something silly will happen, like a totally unfounded bomb threat, like somebody's just being a goof, or somebody's trying to get their boyfriend out of school or something really weird like that. And then the principal will either send all of us an email, which is similar to this, or maybe get us all together just to inform us all the teachers, of what's going on. So it explains things, it lends weight to what he's trying to communicate, just because of his own credibility with the other animals, and that he brought them all together. This is already kind of propagandistic. And if you look back to the Russian Revolution, you'll see where propaganda was playing itself out. The way everything gets spun into somebody else's, into the person who's in power's way of looking at it. And then you're really not allowed to look at it any other way. Let's do one more. At one end of the big barn, a sort of raised platform, there we are again, right? You can't have propaganda without being raised up. Major was already ensconced on his bed of straw under a lantern which hung there. I mean, look at how they're doing this. A lantern which hung from a beam. He was 12 years old and had lately grown rather stout, but he was still a majestic-looking pig with a wise and benevolent appearance, in spite of the fact that his tushes had never been cut. Before long, the other animals began to arrive and make themselves comfortable after their different fashions. First came the 3 dogs, Bluebell, Jessie, and Pincher. Okay, so you'll get an awesome introduction to the animals here, and I would just, like I said, wait a few pages before you choose an animal to trace by character. I'm not going to be looking at this first page necessarily anyway, since I already gave you a lot of answers or direction. I want to see what you can do on your own. I want to see if you can think like this while you're reading, and your book should show that. Well, let's look back. Theme is power can corrupt. I think you're going to wait a little bit before you're going to be able to see that, because even right now, the only way that you're going to get theme is this part of the theme, that power can corrupt, is maybe just the fact that he could get everybody, that they would lose an hour's sleep just to hear what he had to say, right? So he has power and he can just get whatever he wants. But I think that's a weaker argument than when you'll go on. And it's not like you're going to find everything on every page, and certainly not in every paragraph. But this would be a good page. I mean, if I saw this, I would say this person's thinking. I would say that this person is looking. And when you do things like explain in the margin, I mean, I can't stress this enough. When you explain something in the margin, like dream being a symbol, like here, people believe dreams are symbolic. They stand for more than themselves. Oops. That's what I'm saying. That's what a symbol is. I described what a symbol is, and I said that this is something that's really actually a popular belief amongst, I would say, Americans for sure, but probably worldwide. So have a go at highlighting. Read it. If this is hard for you to do what I just did, read it a chapter at a time and then come back. Reading more than once is what's going to happen to you for the next 4 years. So don't throw that out the window right away. Like, I don't want to read this more than once. You probably need to, just like I did. And I've read this so many times, and probably every time my highlighting would look a little bit different. So have fun with it. Come to our sessions. There's one in July and one in August. And meet us, meet the teachers, meet other people in your class, sit down with each other and do this together. I mean, nothing is more powerful than the conversation I think that you guys can have with each other. I'm talking to a computer and a screen in an empty room at Jump High School. and I'd really rather be sitting here talking with you guys. So come on in and meet us. Bye.